Hi everyone, I'm back home. Really happy to be home, but it's not as easy as it was in the hospital. My poor hubby is gonna be run ragged. So yeah, let's see. First thing we'll talk about is weight. So when I went in the hospital on October 6th, I was 365.6. This morning on October 15th, I am 363.6. I hope I said that right. Yeah, so I'm down 2 pounds. Okay, which is amazing because when I came out of surgery and they weighed me, I was 18 pounds heavier than when I went in because of all the fluids and everything they pump into you. And I'm still retaining a lot. My feet have puddles of fluid built up on top of them. My shins are still plump and yeah. When I walk, I would still feel water like vibrating in me. So, okay, so that's the weight. This surgery is not for anybody that's a puss. This is a real big deal. I feel like I've been run over by a truck. Like, seriously. It was an experience, to say the least. I'm not sure how much you guys want to know or anything, but I figure I'll just hit some bigger key points that kind of stick out in my head. First off, it's scary rolling to that OR. That is scary. They bring you in, and my thought was, this is it. There's no turning back. This is it, you know. My first memory is Mark, which this way it should be. And then I remember little snippets here and there afterwards, after I came out. But for like many hours, it's pretty blocked out. You don't remember much at all. Which, again, you kind of want it that way. I was on the breathing machine in the lung, I can't remember the names of them. Anyway, breathing and heart machine. There you go. Maybe that's what it's called. I don't know. Anyway, they put those big tubes down your throat, which for me weren't that big of a deal. Even when I was awake when they took them out. I was kind of awake when they took them out. They didn't bother me much, except the only thing that really bothered me was the length of them. They're huge. They're absolutely huge. And I remember the lady pulled them out, and it kind of felt like they do it fast as they can without hurting you, kind of thing. And I remember seeing the end kind of flick out, and I was like, whoa, that was in me? It was one of those kind of moments. And then I was in ICU for like 2 days. They took me to walk. I guess it would be the day after, so on the 7th, they had me out with a walker, and I walked, and I did pretty good. They were pretty impressed, actually. And then the next day, they did the same thing with me. So that would be the 8th, I guess. They took me out of ICU and put me into, they called it Tower 5 at Loyola. And it's all, like, I think they only handle heart and lung on that floor, if I remember right. Everybody there was great. I've never had that kind of experience in a hospital. Everybody was just awesome. Like, from beginning to end. It was just awesome. It was amazing. Personable, they took care of you. They cared about you. That's the feelings you got. And that was nice, because you're scared. It's scary. Even afterwards, you're scared. At least I was. It was scary for me. Let's see, what is probably the next thing? I had a lot of trouble with my veins, which I always do. I guess I've been told it's from the chemo. But my veins are little, and they're not real strong. They blow, they roll away, they collapse. So I had 2 in my neck, two big tubes in my neck that were like an IV. There was one in this wrist. They tried to do one lower. That's what the lower bruise is. But that had blown. It didn't work. I had one in the back of this hand. I had one in the back of the right hand. I had one in the wrist. No, I didn't. I had one lower than the wrist on the right. They all failed eventually. I mean, these they took out. They would like to take those out before you come out of ICU. So those came out, and the one in the wrist came out when I went to ICU, right? Right, Mark?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I had the 2 left, 3 left. I don't know. I've lost track. In the backs of the hands, and the left one blew almost right away after I was in what I call Gen Bop in the hospital on Tower 5. Oh, excuse me, it's my breakfast. So the left one blew. The right one worked for a few days. It stopped working on, I guess that would have been, today's Friday, so I guess Wednesday, so a week in, it blew. It was tired, it had enough. And they were using it to put heparin in me, magnesium, stuff like that. So, and then they'd flush it, and the last time they flushed it, it gave up, it was done. So they took that one out, and they tried to poke me over here again on like the other side of my hand. It wasn't working, wasn't having none of it. So I said, look, the only thing I got left that you can harvest probably is my shoulders. So I had that done before. So I had an IV up here, my right shoulder, for just 2 days. Because when I came home, I took it out, of course. They had to do blood draws, and since they were having trouble with IV and everything, things weren't going well. So they started everything over here. Like, I don't think you can't see it right now, but when I stand in the mirror and I don't have a shirt on, I can see my blood vessels all over here, this way, are very raised to the surface of my chest. You can see them, and it's the same thing in the arm. Like the top portion of my arm and my shoulder on the left side from the plug clots I had in 2000. So they started using all these veins over here, these very really superficial veins, because they had to keep drawing blood to test how thin my blood was, because they were trying to get me to a certain level of thinness of the blood so everything would work like it should. I have to be between 2.5 and 3.5. That's how thin your blood is, because blood has a tendency to stick to this mitral valve because it's mechanical. It's not tissue. It's like an alloy. I don't know, whatever the hell. I can't remember. My brain is foggy still. So yeah, so they're using all that. I'm all bruised up. Like, you can't see it through my shirt, but I'm all bruised up in here from all the blood draws. They were drawing blood every 6 hours, and they started every hour until finally, like, I think the second time they had to draw for an hour, finally my blood was therapeutic. That's what they call it, therapeutic. Like, okay to handle the mitral valve and all that good stuff. I did good walking, except for I had one dizzy spell. I was actually kind of chatting with the nurse a little bit that was walking with me, and we walked kind of around the nurse's desk, and all of a sudden, the only way I can really describe it, if you ever seen the 70s show, when Eric's high and he's talking to his parents in the kitchen, and the wall behind him starts moving, that's exactly what it felt like. I looked at it and I was like, oh. It just kind of stopped. And they looked at me. There's doctors all around because they're talking about a patient, you know. I kind of shimmy to the left over to the nurse's desk, and I put my hand on it, and they're like, what's wrong? And I said, I'm dizzy. Out of nowhere, this lazy boy on wheels comes out. I'm in it. My feet are up. All these doctors and everybody that are my team too are kind of standing there looking at me. You know, they're all like, okay, what's your blood pressure? What's this? Oh my God. It was a little insane. But so that cleared up pretty quick, but they took me right back to the room right away, did EKG. I do have AFib, or arterial flutter, I guess they call it too. I guess it's two different things. AFib is a little more intense than A-flutter, but my heart rate will go from like, it's gone down as far as like 36, 39, up to like maybe even lower. They don't tell you everything unless you really, really ask and dig. Up to like 80 or so, maybe higher. It just depends. It bounces around and it does it quick. It's like within seconds. It's just bouncing all over the place. And it's been going on for, I think, since overnight Sunday into Monday is when that started. And it was weird because they had just pulled out the wires for the pacemaker that were still in me. They literally pull those out through a little hole that they're in. And they have these little like corkscrews on the end of them. It's really weird. So there was a lot more in my guts than I thought there ever should be. So they pulled those out Sunday. Sunday night the AFib crap started. It's very, very scary. It's very scary. You can feel your heart flipping around. If I didn't feel it, I wouldn't have known it was even happening. But they woke me up in the middle of the night on, I guess it was Monday night, to ask me if I was okay because it was making such drastic bounces around. And I was like wiping the sleep out of my eyes. It's like 11:30 at night. And I'm like, yeah, why? Kind of thing. And they're all like, well, you're an AFib. And it took me a second. And I looked at it, I said, right now? And they're like, yeah. And I said, oh, okay. He's like, do you feel anything? I'm like, no, but I'm not awake. So he's like, okay, my dear. So he calls my dear. And he'd be like, okay, I'll be back in a few minutes. So he left the room, and he no longer left the room. And it's like my senses picked up. And I could feel it. And it was intense. So that was scary. I didn't sleep any that night at all. Did not sleep 1 week that night. I was up all night. They had me on one of those little blood pressure machines that check like every 30 minutes. And my blood pressure was like 95 over 58, stuff like that. In fact, it's still this morning. It was that way at home. They only let me come home because they said they're giving me medication to try to regulate it. And it has gotten less, and the durations have gotten longer. So the fluctuation in the heartbeat has gotten less, and the duration of the spells have gotten less. But so I'm on medication. The reasoning for letting me come home with that problem is because there wasn't anything that they were doing in the hospital for me that they weren't doing. They couldn't do at home. I was just sitting there. I was there for 2 days longer, they said, just because of that alone, because of the arterial flutter. Turns out this is very, very common with heart surgeries like this. The heart gets irritated and it just kind of acts out. So, yeah. I'm dealing with that. They said I could be on the medication for this for 6 months or more. There's a lot of side effects with this medication. One is dizziness, which went to the bathroom this morning. And before, thank God, I stood up, cleaned myself up, and sat back down because that's about the energy you have. That's about the energy level you have. So I was sitting there just kind of waiting to like get my breath back and everything. And all of a sudden I looked at the wall and it was moving and I was like, oh. So I just had to sit there, wait it out. So I was there for probably 5-6 minutes. Got up, went on with my day, waited myself, all that. I just have to be very, very careful. The one thing that I'm kind of worried about is we have stairs coming in and out of the apartment, and it takes a lot of energy. I can put my hand on the rail for balance, but I can't pull, I can't push, I can't do anything like that with my arms. Can't put my arms behind me in any way. Pull, push. My cough, I have to use this pillow. It's a big fluffy one, and you hold it over your chest, and you kind of like hug it. And that keeps your sternum that they just cut from moving much, because you want everything to heal. And if you're completely moving that sternum all the time, you can't heal. So anytime you cough, anytime you sneeze, you have to use that. So it's with me all the time. I also have some exercises I do, lung exercises every day. I'm supposed to do this 10 times an hour. you suck your air from the tube, and this little blue thing goes up, and I'm up to, no, I've hit it. I'm up to 1750. That's where the little arrow is. Supposed to do that 10 times an hour. I can tell you, with everything else I have to do, it doesn't happen every hour. I try to get it in every hour. It's important. There's another one too. I don't know where that is. It's a little white box. I think it's in the kitchen. You breathe that one. You breathe into, and it has a mechanism inside that kind of shakes it, so it shakes your lungs. And that way you get some of the crap out of your lungs. Otherwise you get pneumonia. So yeah, I'm doing all that. Very interesting. This happened at ICU too. It was another whoa, that came out of me situation. I didn't want to look down at what was here, because I knew it wasn't going to be normal. I didn't want to freak myself out. I was a little worried. And all this time, remember guys, I've been on a couple medications. I was on a beta blocker for years. And I was originally put on that beta blocker because I was having trouble with the agoraphobia and anxiety. And they gave me that because I couldn't take anything with serotonin. I kept getting sick. So I said, let's try beta blocker. After years of messing around with all this other crap, they put me on a beta blocker and it worked. And it was like, whew, okay, well, it ended up being a dual purpose. Ended up being for my heart and for the anxiety and everything. I was on another one called Buspar. I can't remember the name of it. And that, just recently, I was on that for a few years. Just recently, I started having pain and tingling in my arms, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And I Googled the symptoms, and that was one of the first things that came up. It was a symptom of taking that medication, a side effect. So I quit taking it. That was earlier this year. Yes, my doctors know. So anyway, getting back to the beta blocker. I took that away because beta blockers slow your heart. They bring your heart rate down. And with my heart going as low as it was in the 30s, they took it away. Fine. Okay, so now I'm on absolutely nothing. I haven't been on anything. I noticed there's a lot of trauma with your body, but there's some mental trauma too. It's kind of like, it's such a big surgery operation that it just really messes with your head. Maybe others that have a stronger mind, I guess, maybe it don't bother them as much, but it's been hard. I've had some crying jacks. I've had I think 3 crying jacks. When I was sitting in the chair in the hospital, they want you to be up as much as possible so your lungs and everything start kicking stuff out. And that was great. I'd rather be sitting in the chair and walking around my room than sitting in the damn bed all the time. That's just, your butt starts to hurt. You start to feel like a real idiot. Not idiot, but you can't do anything for yourself. It's like, ugh. It's a bad feeling. So sitting in the chair, at least you feel a little more normal. I have been sitting in the chair. I went for a walk. I think I had 2 or 3 walks that day. I'm sitting in the chair, and 5 o'clock, it just hit me, and I was in pain, and I was exhausted, and mentally just drained, and I started crying. They came in. Oh, what's wrong? I said, I'm just done. I gotta go back to bed. I'm crying. What a weak poop I was. So anyway, yeah, so there's that. So it's mentally challenging too. Getting back to what I was going to say, I didn't want to look down. I didn't want to look at what was here. They told me I had these drain plugs. I had an idea what a drain plug was, but I wasn't looking. Not looking. Not interested, don't want to know, not looking. So they decided they're going to take these out, and this is before I left the ICU. So this is on probably the 8th. They laid me flat, which was fine, and she says, I'm going to count to 3, and I want you to hold your breath. I'm going to pull these out. Okay. She counts to 3, I hold my breath, and she yanks these tubes out of me like she's starting a lawnmower. They were huge. They were absolutely huge. Maybe in my head, they were bigger than they actually were, but to me, they were huge. She pulls them out and they're dangling. And she puts them down real quick, and she goes, "Do you want to see those?" And I'm like, because I got a glimpse of them, but I'm like, well, okay, sure. She holds them up and they're dangling. They're like, they had to be the length of my forearms. I mean, they were freaking big. And I was like, oh my God, that was in me. She's like, yeah. Like, holy crap. But I'll tell you what, as soon as they were out, the pain that I was feeling started receding. Probably because it was taking up some space. But they're just for like, you collect fluid because they've just done all this stuff to you. They've cut you open. They've sawed your bone and everything in the way to get in there. So everything like swells and you have fluid to build up. So that's what they were there for. And they weren't putting out much. They took them out. They're just not putting out enough to like keep them in. So fine, whatever. That was like, I think that was one of the biggest shocks, the early first shocks. But yeah, so I know I didn't go in order. I skipped around, but that's just how my brain works. I didn't expect to come home. Thought I was going to be there till maybe today or tomorrow, maybe Monday, because the heart just wasn't, to me, it's not settling down. I mean, it is, but it's still pretty like, whoa, Being home is odd because right now I'm not having the same responsibilities as I did when I was at home. I just can't. I'm not allowed to vacuum. I'm not allowed to do laundry. Like everything I would normally do, I'm just not allowed. You can't push, you can't pull, you can't pick anything up over, I think they said like a gallon of milk is fine. But a gallon of milk, I think it's like 8 pounds. But anything over that, they don't really want me moving. I can't even pick up the cats. I mean, seriously. I think they're all 8 pounds or more. So, yeah, we're not doing that. We're not picking up cats. I'm on a lot of different medication. They took some medication away that I was previously on. They've added some medication. Lots of big differences, lots of work ahead of me, and that's okay. I just have to get in my groove and get it all done every day. So, I'm okay. The pain is a lot less than it was, for a couple days later. I actually would be in less pain, but like a dumbass, I shrugged in the one morning. I was trying to adjust my gown. Thought reaching behind me, and I shrugged with both shoulders, and I popped something in the back left of my back. So it's giving me a hell. But other than that, like, all of this feels a lot better. I itch a lot. I want to scratch because they had all these stickies on me, and the sticky stuff doesn't like me. If you remember my stroke video, I guess it's when they put the loop recorder in, which that's a whole nother story. They put the loop recorder in, they scrubbed me with some stuff, and I was full of blisters almost from like here to here. It's like red raised little patches that were like blisters. Sorry, the phone's telling me it's getting low. So yeah, but I'm allergic to like everything like that. So at least this time I didn't get blisters, but I'm very, very itchy. Everywhere it's pinkish red. On my neck and everything, all up here. So I have to be really careful for when I'm scratching because I don't want to scratch this. If you guys want to see the scars, in fact, I'll probably just do the video. I won't do it right now. I don't really want more yuck in this video in case somebody's like, I'll see if I could do a video of what I have going on. I have 2 holes down here. They're like holes, and then I have this here. Oh, I had I don't know what they call it. I call it a suction bandage. That's what my duck was. If you watched my previous video, the duck video, my quack quack video, and it was a purple strip that went all the way down the front of me where they cut me open. I'm glad they did that because I think it heals pretty good. Like what you see now is what it looks like when they took it off. So yeah, it's healed up pretty good. I mean, it's not healed completely, but it looks pretty good. So yeah, there's so much more I could prattle on about, but I won't. I just wanted to give you guys most of the big stars of my experience. There's a lot more I could talk about, but I won't. I'm sure they won't see it, but I really, the staff and the doctors at Loyola were awesome. They all listened to me. They all took into account what I said, and that's really big for me because I haven't had that much before. I got to give them a little bit of insight of what was going on with me throughout the years. That they're like, oh, okay, so some of it helped, some of it didn't mean anything, and that's fine. But I'd rather they understand what all's been going on the last how many years. So yeah, they were great. They were awesome. The care I got was awesome. My doctor and his team, amazing. I have yet to talk to the doctor. I probably will not. And that's just how they work, and that's fine. Because the group he works with, everybody he works with is amazing. Just amazing. I really landed in the right place. God has a way of steering you in your life, and it just worked. So yeah, I'm really excited to heal and get better than normal, what my normal was. I think this is going to be a good thing for me. I think it's going to completely change my life in some different ways. I really think that this could be the difference maker with everything with me. Maybe not everything, but a lot of different things. So I'll keep you guys informed what's going on. I'm sorry the video is so long. A lot to talk about. If you didn't make it this far, I get it. Of course, you're not watching if you didn't. If you did, thank you guys. And I will talk to you next time. Remember, never give up, never give in.